Hi, in today's lesson we're going to learn about polynomials. So the very first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look over this information. This talks about what the definition of a polynomial is, and it also explains how to find the degree of a polynomial. So let's pause the video now and read through this information. Great. All right, so we're going to do some problems together. So let's look at this first section. All right, so the directions say to state whether each expression is a polynomial. If the expression is a polynomial, identify it as a monomial, binomial, or a trinomial. Okay, so let's look at the very first one, 36. So there's actually an example of this up here at the top. So it's just a regular old number. So this is considered to be a polynomial. So I'm going to write polynomial here. And since it's just a single term, one term, then more specifically, we refer to that as a monomial. Okay, that's it. All right, let's go over here to number 2. Now, for number 2, there's a problem here. This is the problem. That q squared is in the denominator. If you have anything in the denominator or a term that has something in the denominator, then we say this is not a polynomial. Not a polynomial. If it were a polynomial, then we would say there are 2 terms, and we would call it more specifically a binomial. But that's not the case here because you've got that q squared in the denominator. Remember, also, this could have been written as 3q to the negative 2 plus 5. So that negative exponent also, it disqualifies it. So if you end up with a variable that has a negative exponent, then you know it's automatically going to be in the denominator, which makes it not a polynomial. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do number 3. So number 3, I have 7x minus x plus 5. This is a polynomial, so I'm going to write that down. And be careful, you might say that it is a trinomial because there are 3 terms. But actually, remember that this one can actually be simplified. 7x minus x is 6x. So before you classify it as what type of polynomial, you need to simplify, if it can be. So this would simplify to 6x plus 5, making this a binomial, because there are really only 2 terms. When simplified, there are only 2 terms. So go ahead, do 4, 5, and 6. Remember, you're going to identify it. Is it a polynomial? And if it is it a monomial, 1 term, a binomial, 2 terms, or a trinomial, 3 terms? If there are more than 3 terms, then we would just say a 4th degree, or a 4-term polynomial, or a 5-term polynomial, or whatever. Okay, so pause the video and do 4, 5, and 6. Welcome back. All right, so hopefully you did okay with this. Specifically looking at number 5, I said that this one is not a polynomial. Remember, the reason being is you've got that variable in your denominator, which makes it not a polynomial. Okay? All right, the next section is asking us to find the degree of each polynomial. So to find the degree of a polynomial, you're looking at the highest term variable. Now, in number 7, I have a monomial, 1 term. Terms are separated by either the plus sign or the minus sign. So there's only 1 term here, 4x squared y cubed z. So if I want to find the degree of this, I'm actually going to have to add up all the powers on my variables. And notice that z doesn't have an exponent. Remember, that's understood to be a 1. So the degree here is going to be 2 plus 3 plus 1, or 6. So this is a 6th degree monomial. Okay, let's look. I'm going to skip 8 and 9. I want to look at number 10. So there are 2 terms here in number 10. This is a binomial, s plus 5t. So I'm going to look at the degree of each term. So the first term is just an s. Remember, that's s to the first power. The second term is 5t, and that's a t to the first power. So both terms have a degree of 1. So this is a first degree, okay? You're not adding those ones together because those ones, these ones are on 2 different terms. The reason I added them here is that's all one term, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's look at number 11. So 22. Well, this one is a monomial. However, there is no variable, right? There's no variable at all. So we say this, the degree of this is a 0. Okay, there's no variable for that one. Let's go to number 12. Okay, so I have 18x squared plus 4yz minus 10y. So obviously this one has a degree of 2. The middle term, that 4yz, well, the y has a degree, it has an exponent of 1, and the z also has an exponent of 1. So this one has a total degree of 2. And then the 10y, well, that's y to the first, that has a degree of 1, right? So 2, 2, and 1. So which one do I put down? You put down the highest one. Well, 2 is the largest, so this is a degree of 2. So if there's more than one term, you're going to find the degree of each of the terms, and whichever one is the highest is the one you're going to go with. Let's look at number 15, and then I'll let you do some on your own. So, for example, number 15, you have the first term is negative 2r to the 8th power s to the 4th. That's a degree of 12 because 8 plus 4 is 12. The middle term is 7r squared s. Well, remember that's s to the first. That is a degree of 3 because 2 plus 1 is 3. The last term, I'm going to add the 7 and the 6. This is the degree of 13. So the degree of the polynomial is actually 13 because 13 is the highest, okay? Okay, so now you're going to finish this page. So do 8, 9, 13, 14, and then 16 through 21. So pause the video and do those now. Okay, welcome back. So you want to check over your answers. So pause the video and check through those. Go ahead and do that now. Okay, if you have questions about any of these, make sure to bring them to my attention so that I can help you with those. All right, let's go to the next page. So this time we're going to talk about how to write polynomials in particular order. So I want you to, again, pause the video and I want you to read through this information. Great. All right, so let's do some problems. So let's look at the directions. So the first set says to arrange the terms of each polynomial so that the powers of x are in ascending order. So ascending would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, going up. So let's look at number 1. All right, so I have 5x plus x squared plus 6. Now, the 6 doesn't have an x term. So, or you could say it has x to the 0 power, right? So I'm going to write the 6. And then the next term is I want the 5x, which is positive. So I'm going to write plus 5x. And then I'm going to end with the x squared. So this is ascending order, 6 plus 5x plus x squared. That's it. Let's try another one. Let's try number 2. Okay, so I have 6x plus 9 minus 4x squared. Again, the 9, that's called your constant term. So that 9 is going to go first. It doesn't even have an x attached. Then I have the 6x, which is the same as x to the first, so plus 6x. And then that 4x squared, that minus goes with the 4x squared. So that would be minus 4x squared. That's it. Let's do one more. Now, this time I have the x and the y. But remember the directions said you want the x's to be in ascending order. So this first term that I'm going to write is the 2y. It doesn't even have an x hooked onto it. There's a plus sign in front of it, so we treat it as a positive 2y. Then the next term is going to be that 4xy because it's just x to the first. So I know it's a plus 4xy because the 4xy was positive, so I can put a plus in front of it. And then I end with the plus 6x squared. So the x terms are in ascending order here. Okay, so now you try. Do 4 through 9. So pause the video and do 4 through 9 now. Okay, so now you're back. You're checking over your answers for 4 through 9. So go ahead and pause the video and do that now. Okay, great. So hopefully you're good with all that. Again, any questions, jot them down so that you can bring them up to me. All right, the next section is asking us to arrange the terms of each polynomial so that the powers of x are in descending order, okay? And descending, I'll underline that permanently. So descending order is like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like that. And that is actually traditionally how we do that. And remember, some of these are going to have more than just x as the variable, but you're only concerned with the x, the powers of x. So let's look at number 10. So the highest term I see right off is the x squared. There's a plus sign in front of it, so that's a positive. Then the next one would be the 2x. It's positive, so plus 2x, then minus 5. Okay, so it'd be x squared plus 2x minus 5. Let's go to number 11. I see a term with x cubed, so that would be 5x cubed. Then the x squared, and it had a minus sign in front of it, so minus 10x squared. And then that 20x is positive, so plus 20x. That's it. Let's do one more. All right, number 12 has a y in the middle term, okay? But remember, we're looking at the x terms and going in descending order. So I see that x to the 5th on the end, and in front of it is that minus sign. So minus, or negative, 10x to the 5th. Then I want the x squared term, which is positive. So plus x squared, and then end with the plus 4yx. Okay? All right, so I'm going to let you go ahead and practice the rest. So I want you to go through and finish this. So finish 13 through 21. So pause the video and do that now. Okay, so now I want you to go ahead and check over your answers for 13 through 21. So let's pause the video now while you do that. Great. So you should be making any corrections, any necessary corrections. If you have questions about anything from this video, make a note so that you can bring it to my attention. I'm happy to address any questions you may have. All right, once you've turned this in, go ahead and work on your independent practice for this lesson. Good luck.